Hello, beautiful people. We are live. We are live. Hello, everyone. This is Donnie Brownhill. How's everybody doing? I'm here to do the second part of Sleep Poses Your Life. This is 2 weeks later, so hey, guys. Well, I'm going to take a deep breath and just relax for a moment and get ready for part 2 of Sleep Poses Your Life. What we talked about 2 weeks ago was I wanted you to be able to define the 6 dimensions of wellness and how they connect to sleep. And also I wanted you to cite the stages of sleep and how just one thing that affects you in each stage of sleep so you can remember that, seeing how important sleep is to you. Also, I wanted you to illustrate how it affects your life, and I wanted you to look at how your sleep habits, your routines, your schedule, how it's affecting your sleep. And I wanted you to start thinking about ways to adjust it or keep it the same, because some people actually have wonderful sleep habits and they wake up refreshed and they don't have any problems. But this part 2, I want to talk more about accessing your self-care, because a lot of times what happens is we don't actually take care of ourselves. We actually take care of everything else, besides ourselves. And before I get started, I don't even think I introduced myself. My name is Donnie Brownhill. I'm a registered polysomnographer technologist, a registered sleep technologist, and I'm also a certified professional coach. You can find the part 1 and part 2. You can print those off. They should be in the files of Team Genius file section in the Facebook page, so you can find them there. But today I wanted to talk more about self-care, when to get to seek medical care, and also for you to get to somehow create a plan so you can make sure for yourself or people that your children or even people in your family that you can start implementing some type of schedule, some routine, or a ritual so you can make sure that you get the sleep that you need. Well, let's get started with that. Well, last time we actually went over, everybody didn't have the printout because I didn't have the information there for you to print it out. But there was what I called a Pose Your Life circle, and this is it here. And what you do with it, it explains everything that you need to do, but you need to look at every aspect of your life and how sleep is affecting that. And once you figure out how it's affecting it, then you got to think of a plan or some type of, I guess, goal to make it better, to change things. I will say this, that there is no such thing as balance, that it's harmony. And when I say that, that's exactly what it is. You have to find the harmony in your life. I work night shift. At one point, I was working night shift and my husband was working night shift. He worked the beginning of the week. I worked near the end of the week. And it worked out when we had smaller children and we didn't have to get anyone to take care of them when he was when they were smaller, because we had it worked out where somebody was always here for them, and that was harmony for us. And our sleep habits, we knew how to make sure that we didn't wake each other up and things like that. So the truth is, when it comes to either sleep or anything in your life, you got to find that balance. So let's go over talking about what I talk about as far as the heart of your sleep. And it's basically, HEART stands for, it's an acronym for harmony, exercise, acceptance, responsibility, and time. And each of those you have to look at and see what's happening in your life, and that's where the harmony comes in. I have a quote by Carnegie that says, if you can't sleep, then get up and do something instead of laying there worrying. It's the worrying that gets you, not the lack of sleep. And that's true. And also, little did he know that that is true. So if you can't sleep after 20 minutes, you should get out of the bed. Exercise. We have to exercise. And I have a quote by Jean Shinoda Bolin. It says, when you rediscover or discover something that nourishes your soul and brings joy, care enough about yourself to make room for it in your life. Exercise is essential. Being stationary, inactivity is now the new smoking. People are dying from inactivity faster because you're not moving. Your organs can't do what they need to do. Sitting is not a normal posture. Sitting is not something that we should always be doing. And a lot of us do. So, and then our posture is bad, so we bend over, so our organs can't do what it needs to. So you have to get up and move around and do exercise. Acceptance. The only real conflict you will ever have in your life won't be others, but yourself. And that's where acceptance come in. When I talk about the self-care, you have to accept what's happening in your life, and you also have to look at where you might have to make some changes, and that's accepting that you may have to make some changes, and that's sometimes very difficult for people. Responsibility. I love this one. Miranda J. Burton. It says, every time you make a commitment to your own self-care, self-love, and self-respect, and then follow you build trust in yourself. That is so true. You have to take responsibility. If you're not sleeping well, if you're not making the money you want to, if you're not in the relationship you want to, you have to take responsibility for that and make some changes. And time. And another quote by Burnett. It says, by honoring and responding to your natural and essential requirements for sleep, food, water, and movement, you will rise out of the realm of survival into the world of fulfillment. And that's where you have to make the time. You have to make the time for your self-care. You have to make the time for your family. You got to make time for your career or even your business. If you have a career and you have a business, you have to make time for all that, and you have to figure that out. And that's where the harmony comes into play. And I believe, and there's a great book by Og Mandino. It says it's the greatest gift is choice. And the book is The Greatest Salesman in the World or something like that. And there's also a book, it has the God Memorandums in it. God Memorandum. And if you can look that up, it's an awesome, awesome read, because it breaks down, it's like a letter from God to you. And it's just awesome. It's unbelievable, because you think about how petty we are sometimes in life. And he says, weak is he who permits his thoughts to control his actions. Strong is he who forces his actions to control his thoughts. And that's what you have to do when it comes to everything. And when I talk about sleep affects every aspect of your life, the 6 dimensions are physical, occupational, and intellectual. There are social, emotional, and spiritual. And the lack of sleep affects all of that. And you'll see that in part 1 if you print it out. You see how it affects your memory, how it can also affect your heart, how it can affect even your movement, your judgment. It also affects sex. It affects every aspect of your life, and you have to figure out where you can balance things. And one of the things I like to talk about is what I call love. And I have an acronym for love, and it's letting go. It's been having open-mindedness, a vision, and execution. So if you love yourself, you'll be able to let go of things that aren't necessarily needed anymore in your life, because everything that comes doesn't have to stay. Open-mindedness, the vision, and execution. So, how to sleep? How can we make sure that we get enough sleep so we can have the cognitive level of this? We can make decisions. We can be all that we can be. I think we talked about it last time. Is you got to find out how much hours of sleep you need. If you are not waking up refreshed, then you're not getting enough sleep. You need to make sure that you wake up the same time, you go to bed the same time. It really helps. It lets your body know that what's going on. I'm like, oh my goodness. Also, when it comes to going to bed, remember I talked about at 4:30. 4:30. If you're out and about, you need to put your sunglasses on, because your body needs to start winding down. When you come in your house, don't turn all the lights on. Especially with daylight savings times. For me, I go to work at night and I come home at night. So when it's dark, I should say, when it's dark out. So my body is like ready to go to sleep all the time, because just working night shift is totally different. One of the things that's on the page is page 9 is when to seek medical care, and that's very important. A lot of times we get so caught up in this. Give you an example. A lot of my patients, by the time they come to me, they've always been tired, and they think it's because they've worked so hard, and they have to, they don't get enough sleep. They work so hard, and then they're just, it just thinks it's just part of being tired of when they work. But what happens is when they retire and they're not doing anything, they're not understanding why they're still so tired. I mean, they sleep, but they still wake up unrefreshed. They feel like they're foggy brain. They just doesn't seem like themselves. And they're wondering, why is this happening after I retired and I don't have the responsibilities? And that's when you need to go seek medical attention. Like snoring. A lot of people think snoring is normal. Snoring is not normal. It's not a normal occurrence, especially if your airway is crowded. Remember, ladies, if your neck is greater than 16, and men, if your neck is greater than 17, you're at risk for sleep apnea. You want to check and see if you have leg cramps, because you could have restless legs, and you can also have what we call periodic leg movements, and that's when you're asleep and your legs are moving, and they may arouse you and they may not arouse you. You may be having problems staying awake when you while you're watching TV, while you're reading. Those things shouldn't be happening. You should be able to go to sleep, wake up refreshed, and function during the day. Now remember, I think I told you last time, there are 2 times that your body naturally goes to sleep, gets sleepy. You should not go to sleep, but you should be a little drowsy. And that's from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. and from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. That's a natural occurrence in your body. But if you're going to sleep, I talked about this last time, if you're going to sleep, then it may be that your diet needs to change. You actually may need to exercise to get your body moving a little bit more, or you may need to check your medications, because you should not go to sleep. Drowsiness is one thing, but actually going to sleep and not being able to function is something. There's some abnormalities there. If you're experiencing depression, lack of sleep will do that to you. We don't, it's like the egg or the chicken. You can't sleep, you get depressed, can't sleep. So, if you feel like you're not getting enough sleep, please seek medical attention. A sleep study is painless. You just go in and sleep overnight. Some places, like our facility, you actually, if you need CPAP and you do have sleep apnea, we try to get it all done in one day. Not every facility does that, but it's possible. On page 9, it tells you when to seek medical attention, so look at that. And then on page 10, we're going to map it out. Now, when it comes to what everybody's doing, one thing that Dr. Will, if you guys know anything about him, if you're on a page, Facebook page, that he wants you to look at every aspect of your life. And that's the reason why I'm talking about sleep and how it affects your life, because you have to look at every aspect of life so you can find that, what I call harmony, because again, there's no such thing as a balance. You have to find what works best in your family. A good example again about harmony is in our house, my husband cooks better than I do, but I can fix anything. So for me, like Christmas, a power tool is like a diamond ring, because I just love to fix things. Whereas my husband can cook, and he does that. So my son would tell people my family's just a little different, but it works for us. It's just a balance, because in society, we have these jobs that women do and what men do. We just make it work, and there's sometimes I can't do the laundry, then he has to pick it up. There's sometimes that he forgets to take the trash out, and I have to take the trash out. These things that we want to say, this is a man, this is a woman, women don't do this, men don't do that. Sometimes you just got to pick up the slack, and that's where the harmony comes in. But when it comes to the what I call the RRS, and it breaks it down. It was on the first one too, but every 2 hours before you go to bed, an hour to 2 hours before you go to bed, you set your alarm. And okay, I'm going to go to bed in about an hour or 2 hours. The first 20 minutes or 40 minutes, you need to start preparing for your day, and that's when you start looking at what you have to do tomorrow. Get your lunch together, set out your clothes, pack your bag so it can be ready. And then the second 20 to 40 minutes is about personal hygiene and pre-relaxation. That's when you start trying to wind down. Make sure you turn off your devices. Remember, blue light stimulates you, so you want to turn that off. No phones, no tablets, no television. Lower the thermostat because you sleep better in the cold. May want to stretch a little bit. That helps some people. Take a shower or a bath, brush your teeth. Start steeping your teeth so you can have it your last 20 to 40 minutes, which is when you start relaxing. At that point, make sure the lights are dim. You can journal. I recommend 3 journals based on a lot of issues I have with people, with my clients, with my sleep client, my patients, my sleep client patients, and my life coach clients. They all were saying the same thing, that they were sleepy, overwhelmed, and they were stressed. So 3 journals. The first one is your thought journal. What happens with the thought journals, before you go to bed, you can sit at the table or you can sit in your bed and you write down just your thoughts that you're having. Just start writing down what you're thinking about and just let it go. Close the book and let it go. The second one is a worry journal. Worry journal is that one where you've been in the bed for about 20 minutes and you can't go to sleep and your mind is just racing. You pull that out and you write down what's on your mind, what's going on. The second thing you write down is there anything, what can you do about it? And a lot of times there's nothing you can really do about it. It's just something that your mind's just racing. And then the last thing you write down is the 5 things you're grateful for. Always write down the 5 things you're grateful for. Close it, let go, and let God. And then the other one is just a simple dream journal. Because some people actually have dreams, and when they wake up, they've forgotten everything. If you got the journal next to you with a pen, when you wake up, you can write down. Because sometimes, I know for me, if it comes about my business or my life, sometimes it's in my dreams. I get information. So you just pull that out and you start writing down what your dreams were about. And just don't worry about it. Just scribble, scribble, scribble. Just keep writing. Because if you start thinking too hard, you're going to miss it. Just start writing down whatever comes to your mind. And then you reread it later. So those are 3. You got the thought journal, the worry journal, and your dream journal. So what you do in the last page of this is, it says for you to start preparing, and you write down what's best for you in your life. You may not want to iron your clothes until the next morning. That's fine. You may not want to take a shower. That's fine. You decide what works best for you so you can get up refreshed and you can start your day and you can start working on your business, working on the things that you need to in your life. The most important thing is you have to get enough sleep, because eventually it runs out. You burn out. You just do. Your body will shut you down. It will shut you down if you don't get enough sleep. And you're also damaging your body long term. As we talked about 2 weeks ago, we talked about what happens, and the body needs to detox. And if you're not getting enough sleep now, all that is just building up. Your heart's not being able to do what it needs to, your liver, kidneys, your breathing. If you got other comorbidities, what we call comorbidities, when you have any other diseases, if you have hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, any of those things, and even menopause, they will interfere with your sleep anyway. And then if you're not getting enough sleep, it makes it worse at the end. So just map out a schedule for yourself and for your family, for your kids. Remember, I told you last time, children, they do sleep in late. They were designed, their body's designed to go to bed late and to sleep late. So please, on the weekend, if they really don't have anything to do, just let them sleep in, because they're exhausted. Because the way society is set up for an adult. It's not set up for children. So we get them up so early in the morning to get them to school, and then they come home after their extracurricular activities and have to do homework. They're exhausted. And one thing that my daughter actually does is she takes a 15-minute break every day. And she goes into her room. I don't know when she takes it. And she just takes a 15-minute break, and she gets up and she does her homework. And it works for her, because that way she can refresh herself. And remember, naps should not be any more than 45 minutes. Anything more than 45 minutes, you'll probably wake up drowsy and you feel like you're not getting enough. You can't function. You'll feel drowsy. It felt like you overslept. You may have a headache or something, because at that point, anything more than 45 minutes, what you've done is you've gone into the deeper sleeps and other stages of sleep, and you disrupted yourself. And it could be during one of those sleeps where you actually do wake up drowsy. So, I think that's everything. So what have we walked away? What can we walk away with this? Just know that sleep affects every aspect of your life. Sleep poses. When I say poses, it's the 6 dimensions of sleep. It affects you physically, it affects your occupation, it affects you intellectually, socially, emotionally, and spiritually. And if you don't get enough sleep, Yes, at the end, it will catch up with you, because the body has to do what it needs to do. It has to detox. And that's I want to leave you with that, knowing that your body has to detox, and also seek medical care if you need to. If you're waking up forgetful in your concentration, if depression, remember what I talked about earlier, please go seek medical attention just to find out. That's all. Just rule it out. It could just be simply stress. You know, even the snoring. Snoring doesn't mean you have to have sleep apnea. It can actually mean you need to go see an ENT, and you may have to get some surgery on your nose. Just that simple. Doesn't mean that you have to put that mask on, because people hate that mask, the CPAP mask. So just know that it affects every aspect of your life. And just map out a way for yourself. You know, what's best for you? What works best for you? Everybody doesn't need 7 to 8 hours sleep. Dr. Will only needs 4, and he functions very well. And some people, they need 8. Anything more than 9 or 10, there's something going on. And you might want to go seek medical care for that too, because that's a long sleep, and you shouldn't be a long sleeper. That could be bad for your health too. I know, it's so many things going on, right? So, print out, let me see. We have part 1 and part 2. Part 1 and part 2 of this. There are in the files in the group, so you can print those out and see what that's all about. So thank you so much, whoever listens, whoever took part in this. Very interesting. If you wouldn't mind, please post if you did work out a schedule and how did it work out. You know, I'm really interested in finding out if someone actually did something like that. A lot of times people don't. They just, when I talk places, and I'll have I'll have a booklet, and I'll have little lines for them to fill out, and they'll look at me like, I'm not filling this out. I don't know. I'm just going to listen. So it's okay, but I'm really interested if anybody has done anything. And I think that's it. Oh, actually, I wanted to leave you with something. I think I wrote it down. If I can find it. Yes, here it is. Namaste. That's what I want to leave you with. Alrighty, I want to leave you with this. I honor the place in you where the divine resides. I honor the place in you of love, of light, of truth, of peace. I honor the place with you where if you are in the place in you and I'm in the place in me, there is only one of us. Namaste. Considering all that is going on right now, we're all just one. We're all just trying to get through this. And lack of sleep is part of it. Being overwhelmed and stressed is just part of it. So just find your niche and your little space and make it happen for you and yours. Many blessings, and thank you for honoring me with your presence. Namaste.